Introducing Chat and Chew's Health-i-monials. Join us in opening the gift of health.
This is Harry Bald, and he's going to tell his story. So Harry, what made you go plant-based? Did you have some kind of a medical problem, and when did this happen?
Yeah, it all started around 2009. I had been, for several years having some prostate challenges where I was getting up all night and going to the bathroom. And so anyways, they put me on a new medication. And after a few months, I maybe lay down on the couch in the afternoon or something, take a little break, and when I would get up, I'd be dizzy. So I'm going like, wow, this is kind of weird. So when I went to the doctor, I called the doctor. I went over to the doctor, and they said, oh, it's the medication from the prostate medication. So anyways, so they gave me another type of medication, and it kept happening. So finally, when I went to I went to the general practitioner, and she said, well, have you ever had your heart checked? And I said, no. So she said, well, let me set an appointment for you. So that was kind of, what really kicked everything into gear. So we went and...
And how old were you then?
Oh boy, well, I was about 55 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's young for that.
Yeah. So anyways, but...
So here you are, ready to go see that cardiologist.
Yeah, ready to see the cardiologist. So I get to the cardiologist. They do an echocardiogram, an EKG, and all that. And so the nurse said, you need to wait around to talk to the doctor after she reviews everything. So, being kind of a ding-dong, I said, well, how long will that be? And she said, well, probably 20 minutes. So I said, okay, well, in 20 minutes I'll be out of here. Whether she's around or not, whatever. So anyways, so I took off. The nurse said, don't leave, and Susan was there, and she said, why don't we wait? But I just, get tired of sitting around the doctor's office. So we left. Well, 2 days later, we get a letter in the mail, and just 2 days later, and it says, call the hospital immediately. So we called the hospital. It's late in the afternoon, and I said, what's going on? And they said, well, you didn't talk to the doctor, and we need you to talk to the doctor immediately. So I said, well, okay, when are we setting the appointment? They just said, get in here first thing tomorrow morning, which was Friday morning at 8 o'clock. So we went in, got an appointment with the doctor, and Susan and I went in and sat in there, and he goes, we found that you have a very leaky heart valve. So your ejection fraction is 40%. So I go like, okay, what does that mean? And he said, you got 40% of your blood going through your heart. Wow. So that's why you feel a little dizzy and things like that. So anyways, I go like, okay, what's next? And then he goes, well, we're going to have to do open heart surgery. We're going to have to repair the heart valve, and we're going to have to open your chest up. So I look over at Susan, and all of a sudden she started crying. And so then I started crying. So then the doctor said, I'll be back in about 20 minutes. Yeah. And he left for about 45 minutes. By then we were dry, Yeah. But it was just sad. It was so sad for Susan when people go through this stuff. That's a major blow. I mean, I'm going like, well, he goes, oh, you have a big scar the rest of your life. So I go, wow, that's not too good. So he came back. He goes, okay, you're doing better now. So anyways, he said, we want to schedule this as soon as possible. So I said, okay, when are we going to do it? So he said, next Friday, 1 week from that day. And it happened to be the day after Thanksgiving. Well, Susan and I have been athletic our whole life. We're runners. So I told him, I said, I can't do it that day. He goes, well, like why? And I go, well, I got 10K, a turkey trot, the Dana Point turkey trot, where I got to go run
With
a
a
race
leaky valve.
on Thursday. And he's going like, what? And I go, well, I'm not missing. I've done that run like 26 years. I mean, it's like, I'm going. And so he goes, okay. So then he goes, how about after that? Well, we go to Cabo every December for like 3 weeks, and we've already had that all planned. So then he goes, you can't do it in December either? So I go, yeah, but beginning of January be fine, I'll be okay. I don't care if I get a little dizzy. So anyways, we got to January, and we had an appointment, and they called and they said, we're going to put this off a little bit longer, which was really amazing. I mean, to me, we're going like, okay, at that point, we were very nervous about it, but it really, when I get to the end of the tale, you'll see that it was really, to me, it was kind of like a God thing that delayed this long enough for them really to find out what was going on. So they kept talking about, replacing the heart, but it was just never happening. So
Well, how long did that go on?
it went on for like, what about, 4 or 5 years,
Yeah.
because I was functioning. They did put me on a, exercise stress test and all that, and I did really well on that. And they were trying to figure out, how does this guy do this?
With this leaky valve.
Yeah, and I just said, well, I've been running my whole life, I mean, it's like, I don't know, my heart's used to it. It knows how to function.
So what happened next?
Well, what happened next was I went saw, had an appointment with the doctor, and then I go, this is around 2015 or 16, and I said,
And you were 50.
oh boy, 2015 or 16? I don't know, I was probably like 58 or something,
58,
or something
okay.
like, somewhere in there.
So it went on for a while.
Oh, this went, yeah. I mean, we're just going and getting checked, and I'm wondering why they're checking me so often. And then she goes, okay, here's the problem. She goes, we don't want to change your heart valve, because every time I see you, your heart is enlarging and it's getting bigger. And you're going to have like congestive heart failure. And she goes, we don't want to change a valve. And then if that's not the cause of your heart getting weaker, then what ultimately is going to happen is we're going to have to do a heart transplant.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. We're just going like, what? So she goes, it's a waste of time and money, and
Wow.
to change the valve and then have to change your heart. So finally we got to 2017 and early 2017, and I went in and they go like, this is it, we're sending you to get a heart transplant. So yeah, that was really disturbing, and I really felt sorry for Susan. Yeah, I'm just going like, oh my God, what's she gonna do? Because I met her in high school. She was my high school sweetheart. I never dated anybody or anything, and I go like, we don't have any kids. We never had kids, so I just go like, she's going like, I need you around.
Yeah.
So
what happened then?
Okay, well, what happened then was they sent us up to, we were currently going to the doctor in Loma Linda, California.
Okay.
And then they said, we're going to send you up to Stanford University, because they're really, really great at heart transplants up there. So I go, okay, well, as long as we got the right place, In the meantime, we got everybody in church praying, our families praying. It's amazing how religious everybody gets when you get into a situation like that. So, I mean, we're, come to terms with the Lord, it was good. And we were glad that we had him in our life, because that gave us some peace.
Yeah.
And so anyways,
You went to Stanford.
Yeah, went to Stanford. We had our appointment. We walked in. There were 6 cardiologists sitting in there. We didn't really have any idea who they were, but they were irritated that they had to sit there and wait for us. But so I said, "What's up?" And they said, "Well, the head of cardiology wants to speak with you."
Oh my gosh.
So I'm going like, "Oh wow, this is interesting," So we go in, and his name was Dr. Thomas Burden, And if you live in that area and you have heart trouble, you should go see him. I just want to give him a promo on that because he was outstanding. He said to us, he goes, look, he goes, I had similar things that you have going wrong with me, my heart, that you did. And he said, my wife, who's a general practitioner, for about 20 years was telling me I should be a plant-based person. And he goes, I'm like the head of cardiology. You think I'm going to listen to my wife? She's like a general practitioner, you know? So I thought that was kind of funny, you know?
Yeah.
So we laughed about it. And I said, yeah, you wouldn't listen to her, I'm sure. But anyways, he said, I just kind of ignored her. And one day I just walked out here and I had a massive heart attack. And he goes, that was 5 years. I was like in 2012. It's now 2017. I'm talking to him.
Yeah.
And he goes, when I woke up in intensive care, she was holding my hand, and the first words out of my mouth is, I'll eat whatever you say. And he goes, I did that. I followed that to the letter. He goes, it's 5 years later, I've had complete cardiovascular,
regeneration, or whatever you want to call it.
Right. It just, he goes, my veins are clean. I don't know, there's no stents, there's no, I don't have it. It just all worked out really great for me. And he goes, I recommend that to people. But the interesting part was, then Susan said, what is plant-based? And I go like, okay, here we could find out. And he goes, oh, I don't have time to tell you about that. He goes, I'm a really busy guy. And I found that quite irritating to me.
Yeah.
But he goes, I'm a very busy guy. And what I have found, that people do not do it. Most people will not do what I'm telling them is the best thing for them to do. They're going to end up having open heart surgery.
Yeah.
So he goes, I don't take the time to explain it anymore because I'm so busy. And what I have found out is the people that are really interested, they go out and they seek it out and they find out. So that was it, So he said, you're going to go out, these cardiologists are going to run you through a battery of testing to see, when we're going to do this. And if there's time available, then if you have time to change your diet or whatever, you might be interested in doing that. And
wow.
Yeah. So
that was his prescription.
That was what he said. Yeah. He said, change your diet. He had, this happened to me. Nobody talks about it because nobody wants to do it, so the doctors don't really want to.
So you changed your diet, and then what happened?
Yeah, well, it took us about 4 months, 4 or 5 months, and we still didn't know what plant-based was. We became, like vegan people, but ultimately we learned that vegans, you can really still have a very poor diet. Because there's a lot of sugar and oils and
you're just avoiding
stuff like that. Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
So
you moved it more towards health because you had a health problem.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyways, but we didn't know. But then we went on vacation for a couple weeks. When we came back, the city we live in, Canyon Lake, California, we've been there since 1989. It's now 2017. Okay. And they had a class on plant-based eating by the book Eat to Live by Joel Fuhrman, Dr. Joel Fuhrman, who's an expert on all this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, since '89, there has never been a class in our city. We're closed gated community, the whole city, and they have a newspaper, and we read it every Friday, and they have never had any class on any subject. And then all of a sudden we have that. So Susan said, hey, I think we should go. So I said, great, go ahead. Let me know how it is, And a typical guy, I watched TV, I watched Westerns, and then she went. But anyways, what was great is the third week she came back, she said, this is so unbelievable. Now people are losing weight. They're just within 3 weeks, they're getting off their blood pressure, diabetes medications, all their heart, cholesterol medication, all that. Everything's dropping. It's just unbelievable. So she goes, I think we should do this. So
and you did.
Yeah. So
then what happened to your heart?
Well, what happened to my heart? Well, we changed the diet for 6 weeks. Then we went to the doctor and they checked us out, and my doctor was amazed. She goes, "You're not going to have to get a heart transplant."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they gave us a reprieve. It just happened to be long enough. So we're going like, this must be an answer of prayer. I mean, that's kind of where we're looking at it.
Yeah.
And but anyways, yeah, she goes, "It's just amazing, your numbers.
Yeah.
I can't believe it." So I go, "Well, I mean,
What do you think happened?
Yeah, what do you think?" She goes, "Your heart even actually shrunk a little bit."
Oh my
All
God.
this happened really in, it was 6
months.
months since we've been to the doctor, but it's all in 6 weeks of eating
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah.
So,
And you weren't dizzy anymore.
no, I wasn't dizzy after that or any of that stuff.
Now, you kind of baby your heart a little bit and don't
Oh, we don't
exercise.
baby our hearts, my heart at all. No.
What do you do?
What do I do? Well, we run. We're athletic, so we
Uh-huh.
run. We work out with weights. We cycle.
Uh-huh.
You know, well,
But you have a weak heart.
yeah, my heart isn't. My heart, well, that was 2017.
Yeah.
Well, now we're 2024. And when I saw my doctor last October, she goes, I used to have to come in and do an exercise stress test
Yeah.
every year.
Just to check.
Yeah. And they do a stress echo. They did an echo, stress echo. They found out my heart works better when I'm actually
Working it.
Yeah, working it.
Oh,
It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, but anyways, she just said the last time, I don't think we have to have that stress echo every year anymore. You probably don't even need an echo. We're not even going to schedule one for next year. I'll just have you come in. I'll talk to you, see how you're doing, and that. So, I mean, it's really, really worked fantastic for us. I mean, so we really share that information with people, and because we've had a little influence from business and things like that we do have a following of people that as soon as we switched over, they go, "How do we do it?"
Yeah,
And
because they saw what happened.
oh yeah, and I have friends that they had heart attacks and things like that, and are on all kinds of medications,
Yeah.
and they lost 50 pounds eating this way. And I mean, you're eating as much as you want to eat. You're just eating the right stuff, so it's not that that many calories. But and then they get their medications way down. They're almost not taking any medication. So
that's
it really works. And
So your message to us is,
well, I think people need to go plant-based. I mean, plant-based is the way to go. What happens is it's very easy to get a pill. Everybody, this is what I found out. People want a pill to fix something. But when they get the pill, they might change a symptom, but then they get symptoms from the pill in other areas.
oh yeah.
So, you're just going like, why wouldn't you just change the way you eat? But I think a lot of people don't really think about it. They don't think about maybe how important they are to their spouse or their children. I mean, it's hard. In that way, we were the kind of people that, I definitely wanted to be around for my wife, and Susan's going to do anything she could. So, I love her. She's somebody I really want to thank her, thank God, thank Dr.
Dr. Fuhrman.
Yeah, Dr. Fuhrman for sure, and Dr. Burden up there, because without them, and then
You
the
wouldn't have known the
support.
direction.
Yeah, and through the National Health Association, we get a lot of support there with podcasts.
That doesn't give somebody a why. I don't know what would. But you know what we need to know next? We need to hear from Susan and find out how she made it possible for the two of you to go down this road.
Well, she made it very easy on me, and she'll give you some good facts on that. She's pretty awesome.
Thank you so much. This was
thank you.
tremendous.
Yeah.
And congratulations.
Yeah, God bless you all. Yeah, appreciate it.
I would love to hear more about what this experience was like for you. So we've listened to Harry talk about needing a heart transplant, essentially.
Right.
And, with a very high chance of him dying, obviously.
Yes.
And so how were you feeling during this whole process?
Well, I was nervous about everything. I was like, oh, I don't know what we're going to do. I was praying, Lord, help us to find the resolution to this. I mean, I was in shock because I thought we're eating good our whole life and exercising and doing all the things we thought were right. And so it was a very, scary time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It sounds really confusing too, because you thought you were eating healthy.
Right.
And you were exercising a lot,
Mm-hmm.
very active. You're not overweight,
No.
and here you're faced with really the worst possible outcome.
Oh yeah, it was scary. I was very scared, very nervous, and I thought, what can we do? What's the solution? There's got to be, something we can do.
And as the years were going by, did you explore options, or were you just not knowing exactly what was happening?
Yeah, just really not knowing, what was happening, and I mean, you do a little research, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not being, a doctor or a nurse or anything like that. I mean, I just had no clue, and I didn't know anybody who had gone through something like this,
Okay.
so I had no clue,
Mhm.
really.
So really kind of an out of control experience.
Oh, totally out of control.
So
Yeah.
when this doctor said you should go plant-based, what were your thoughts?
I go, great, let's do it. But he said, well, I don't have time right now to share with you. And I'm like, well, I need to know, like, is it like chicken and fish, or, I mean, I'm thinking plants. Okay, well, it could be fish. It could be, and with a bunch of vegetables, fruits, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I had no clue. And then he said, well, you'll just have to find out on your own. So I'm like, okay. I'd never heard about plant-based. I mean, I knew vegan people, obviously. So I thought, well, they eat vegetables, so maybe it's something like that. I had no clue whatsoever.
Okay, and somehow this class mysteriously
Yes.
appears at the perfect time.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
at the perfect time. I'm going, this can be more perfect. I got to get to that class. And it was actually a nurse who taught it, and she was wonderful. And it was so interesting, and we went through a book. She gave us a manual and everything, and so I told Terry about it, and I said, this is it. This is plant-based, and we've got to follow it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how did you start?
Well, that's kind of how we started. She said, you have to get this book by Dr. Joel Fuhrman, Eat to Live,
Mhm.
was one of his books. And I said, okay. And she gave us a few recipes in her manual or binder that she gave us. But we started going through the book. And then in the back of the book was his 6-week plan. So I said, we're just going to follow this 6-week plan. And however we do it, we're just going to follow that.
Mm-hmm. So there were recipes to eat every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
So did you just go all in right away then? Or
All
did you-
in.
Okay.
Yeah, because this was so serious to me. I go, okay, this is our chance right now to hopefully reverse it if we can.
And so my husband and I did something very similar in 2012, and we didn't even know what any of the vegetables were. I mean, I had never heard of any of the things, and so, and a lot of the recipes were like foreign, like take these cashews and mix it with carrot juice and blend it. And so what was it like? Did you like the food? Just give me a sense of how the transition went.
Well, at first, I was like you. I knew a few vegetables, a salad, broccoli, and different things like that, but I didn't know, how to blend things or, but luckily I had that class with the lady, and she said, get a Vitamix and you can make sauces and, these kinds of things, which was very, very helpful because, you know, I mean, not knowing what you're doing is, you know, and then I started listening to people on the internet, and, you know, there's a lot of different podcasts, there's things like that, different doctors, different, you know, where they have recipes and different things. So then I just jumped right in, and, you know, but we were very strict on following Dr. Fuhrman's 6-week plan, because we also wanted to lose weight. I mean, it's not like we were overweight, but we had some extra pounds on us. So I said, we got to get that down too.
And what did you start seeing in terms of weight loss?
Well, after the 6-week period, I lost about 18 pounds, and so did Harry.
Wow.
It was huge, yeah.
It is huge.
Because I tried everything to lose weight before that. I mean, everything. You know, I cut way back on my food content. I, you know, just tried smoothies, and we exercise too. So I thought, well, it'll come off, you know, but the foods we were eating, I guess, just wouldn't allow that to happen. The oil, the salt, the sugars, and what have you.
So I'd love to hear more about a couple things. One is, what are your top kitchen gadgets that you use every day?
Vitamix is my top kitchen item. I use that probably 3 or 4 times a day. Yeah. You know, steamer. I have a combination dehydrator and you know, air fryer, toaster, all that. So I love that too. But those are probably my top things I go to every day. But the Vitamix for sure.
Okay, and then walk us through a typical day. What are you guys eating?
Well, a typical day is we get up, and then we usually will have oats. We'll usually have oats with berries in it, and some steamed greens like bok choy, and I love broccoli, and maybe some onions and mushrooms in there too. I mix that all in.
Gotta get those G-bombs in.
That's it. Gotta get the G-bombs. And then, so that's usually a typical breakfast with some flax seeds or chia in there. Sometimes if we're exercising before we eat our breakfast, we'll just have a banana on the way to either work out or run. And then we'll make like a smoothie or something after to kind of get us, you know, rejuvenated. And then for lunch, we usually have a big giant salad with some beans in it, and you know, seeds and that sort of thing. Vegetables, seeds.
Any dinners?
Yeah, dinner. That's an important one. Dinner, we usually, we'll have usually a soup of some sort, because I really like different soups. Maybe a lentil stew, or I like the cauliflower that you put in with the vegetables in the Instapot too is very important, my Instapot. And then we'll have that, or and then some steamed vegetables or greens. Trying to think. Sometimes I'll make like a, you know, Taco Tuesday. We always have a taco night, so I might make let's see, I usually make mushroom, cauliflower, walnut taco meat, and it looks just like regular, you know, meat, like ground meat or something, and it's delicious. And so we'll have that, and or jackfruit. I make jackfruit tacos too that I love. And then you know, during the week we'll just have like maybe a spaghetti squash with some vegetables in it, and you know, some marinara sauce and things like that. So, you know, pretty simple,
Yeah,
and a simple eating,
and rather traditional, but made healthier.
Yes, very traditional but made healthy. Yeah.
So what advice would you give to other people who are just starting?
Well, it's hard to say, but I usually tell people just start where you are and try to have more salad, try to get more vegetables in your diet and all that. They always ask me, did you go all in or that, and I say we went all in. But usually what I do is Dr. Fuhrman has a 10 and 20 book. It's pretty reasonable, so I'll give them one of those and I say, here's some recipes, you can start with that. And I think it's really helpful. It has good food in it, and it'll get you going on the right path. So yeah.
And have you ever gotten to meet Dr. Fuhrman?
Oh yes. Yeah, we've been to his retreat center. We haven't stayed there, but we've gone to visit him there, and here he had an appointment with them there. And yeah, that's an amazing place.
Yeah, it sounds.
And he's
like
a wonderful, wonderful man, and is helping people like crazy.
Yeah, well, it really sounds like you are the key to this whole thing.
Well, I don't know. I guess you could say I was, but I mean, when you love somebody and you want to do the best for yourself and them, it's just a matter of, okay, I got to make a decision and move forward with, with our health. That's so important. So,
and it's interesting that the time was right too, because you had these little wake-up calls, and I really, heart valve replacement is a big thing in itself. Facing the prospect of having your chest open and everything, and it wasn't really taken as seriously at that point. But when the time came, you were ready.
Yes.
And you took action, which is really amazing.
Yeah. Well, we would have never known probably unless, because the heart valve, that was just, something they said was an issue that he had. And, so yeah, we had it not gone further, we wouldn't even have known about, eating correctly, doing the right things, that sort of thing. So.
Well, it's really an inspiring and amazing story.
Thank you.
So thank you for sharing it.
Oh, thank you very much for the opportunity to share, and hopefully it'll help other people, because, it's an amazing way to go. I love our food. I really do. I would never go back. The food is so wonderful.
Yeah, and I bet you feel great.
Oh, yeah. Really great.
And do you mind me asking how old the two of you are?
Yeah, I'm going to be 69 in a month or two, and he's going to be 71, Harry.
Yeah, and they look amazing. And we're on this cruise together, and you're very, very active. And so you really see the benefit of eating this way. It's really amazing. It's very inspiring.
It is amazing. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Yeah. Appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity to share.
Sure.